What is up, guys? I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're covering some more r/am I the butthole. If you're new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe and maybe that notification bell too. And don't forget you can follow us on podcasts so you can take us with you wherever you go. You can also join us either on YouTube membership or over on Patreon. And just a huge thank you for each and every one of you being here. It is truly appreciated as always. And with that being said, let's get in to today's stories. Much love, guys. Our first story comes from I'm a Genius Marino. Am I the arse for rejecting the role of cool aunt because it was more like an unpaid babysitter? My sister and I have always been very different. Growing up, she was your stereotypical nerdy/geeky girl, very into sci-fi, fantasy, video games, etc. She bonded a lot with my parents over it because they are the same. I felt kind of different from the others because I'm not very geeky, and while I did my best to fit in, Star Wars movies, Harry Potter, etc., I took my first opportunity to leave the area for school. I went to FIT and got a degree in fashion design. I always loved making my own clothes. To frame it one way, I made my prom dress my own pattern and my family smiled politely. My sister threw together a Harry Potter costume and the picture is hanging on the walls. Well, sister had kids a while back. I sent polite gifts, including a quilt to be handed down. Sis received them warmly, but I found out she doesn't use the quilt because the room is Harry Potter themed. Due to COVID, I ended up moving back closer to home in a condo I've been renting out. Tenants were not evicted or anything. Once Sis found out, she got really excited and started making all kinds of plans. I was thrilled because I thought she wanted to spend more time with me. Except the plans were like, I take the kids to the zoo, I take them to the park, I take them for ice cream, the aquarium, etc. So Sis can have some time to herself and relax, play video games, etc. I inquired about when I would spend time together, and she actually said, it's not like we have anything in common we can do together. I was really hurt by this and declined her request for me to basically babysit her kids. She asked me why, and I didn't want to be the cool aunt, and this is where I think I'm the arsehole. I said, I don't know, it's not like I have anything in common with them that we can do together. Sounds like you want an unpaid babysitter. She was shocked and went stomping to mum and dad, who immediately took her aside and told me that I should be thankful to spend time with her kids. I said why? It's not like anyone in the family has ever made any point to spend time with me doing something I'd enjoy. She told me that if I tried harder to be more like the rest of them, instead of chasing popularity and doing my nails, maybe I had more in common with them. I'm lost now because on the one hand, I don't think I was in the wrong to decline being a free babysitter for my sister. But maybe mum is right, and I've been a shitty member of the family because I just couldn't get into Star Wars and all that. Edit, I just wanted to chime in and say Star Wars and Harry Potter aren't the only geeky/nerdy things they like. They were just the things that popped into my head. I remember back when we were in high school, my sister laughed in my face because I didn't enjoy Sabriel books, and she told me they were too advanced for me to understand. She found me reading the California Diaries, offshoot of Babysitter's Club books, and laughed in my face again because they were dumb books for vapid little girls. Edit 2, one thing I'm curious about is why so many people are telling me, first thing in their comments, that they're geeky/nerdy. What do you think that makes things different? The one thing that's really sad about this story is that, like, the family just ousted you because you don't want nothing to do with their hobbies. They just want you to conform to their way of life. It's ridiculous that you can't choose your own path. How stupid is that? And your sister just sounds very entitled in general, and the way she spoke to you is just disgusting. So I think you had every right to say that to her. If you don't have things in common, then that's absolutely true. And if I was being used as a babysitter like that as well, I don't think I'd want much to do with it either. But let's take a look at the comments below to see what we can find. Exacting Rook 2822 says, not the arsehole, never the arsehole. Your sister is an entitled brat and your parents clearly play favourites. Just because you're into fashion doesn't mean you chase popularity. In the same way that being a geek doesn't stop you from being a brat who craves attention from mummy and daddy. You stood your ground and voiced your emotions about how you felt they treated you, and their response was, we didn't try and make an effort with you because your interest didn't match up with ours. Not only does your sister need a reality check, but your parents need to take a good hard look at themselves. Mobile05 says, not the arsehole, and your family is pretty toxic. Also, what your mum said is pretty manipulative. She's going to blame you for a lack of being a parent. Yeah, no, you don't owe anyone free babysitting, especially the way your sister talked to you. J Hercules says, not the arsehole, your sister does want an unpaid babysitter. My sister is the same way. She and your parents are gaslighting you into agreeing. Wow, what do you guys think of story 1? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description. And our next story is from I Don't Like the Stink. Am I the arsehole for period shaming my daughter? I'm a 41 male single dad with a 13-year-old daughter, Lacey. My wife died in childbirth and it's just been me and Lacey all her life. My sister has been a big help in raising Lacey. We do keep in contact with her maternal grandparents. The issue started a couple of months ago when Lacey started her period. I knew this day would come, so I spoke to my sister, my female best friend, and my mother-in-law to be well prepared. I gave her the talk with her grandmother and aunt there. I buy her pads and tampons. I even have middle and heating pads ready for Lacey when she needs them. The problem began when I began to notice a smell coming from Lacey's room. I went in to investigate and found pads and tampons openly disposed in her wastebasket. I checked her bathroom and it was worse. She had blood-stained undergarments in the tub. I took out the trash and did my best to get rid of the smell, but I didn't know what to do with the underwear in the tub. Later, I noticed bloodstains on the couch. It took a while of cleaning, but I got them out. I figured that was the end of that. It happened again last month, when I noticed Lacey's room was stinking again, and I saw she didn't even wash the underwear from before. The bathroom was unbearable at this point. Then earlier this week, I saw bloodstains on the couch again. I sat Lacey down and told her that she had to learn properly to dispose of her feminine hygiene products and wash her underwear as the smell was becoming too much, and to be careful of getting bloodstains on the couch or anywhere she sits. I noticed her sheets had a lot of bloodstains and brought this up too. I also let her know it was okay to get blood on things as long as she washed them, and I wouldn't be upset if I saw bloodstained items being washed. Lacey immediately blew up at me saying that periods aren't gross and that I was period shaming and needed to educate myself on menstruation. I then got text from my sister and mother-in-law scolding me for making Lacey feel ashamed of her bodily functions. But I honestly wasn't trying to convey that periods are gross. I was trying to convey that her hygiene needs to be addressed and that the smell was becoming unbearable. I just wanted to make sure that Lacey knew how to properly dispose of pads and tampons without it smelling, and that I wouldn't be annoyed if she just washed her blood-stained items. Am I the arsehole here? Was I period shaming my daughter? Edit, so I've mentioned it in a few comments. I talked to my sister and mother-in-law and explained my side. They apologised for misunderstanding, and like you guys, have given some good cleaning tips, and they'll talk to Lacey and help her out with the pads and tampons too. Edit 2, so many people have suggested it, and I've asked Lacey if her period pain is unbearable or just normal cramps, and left the choice to her as to whether or not she wants to see a specialist, but the option is there for her. Edit 3, we have washed the sheets with hydrogen peroxide and purchased some OxyClean for future instances, should we need it. Many of you have also suggested period underwear, which again, I've asked her aunt and grandmother about, and they'll be able to give her more info about those as well, as different hygiene products she can use. You know, we have quite a few of these stories in Am I the Arsehole. There's a lot about menstruation and periods and things like that. And the majority of the time it comes down to like a misunderstanding or an educational issue where the person just hasn't learned, like in this case, hasn't learned how to dispose of things properly, and the father may have said it the wrong way when he was initially explaining to her and stuff like that, so it's caused a bit of a rift. But I think he's done the right thing here. He's obviously trying to help her out, and I think it might be just really embarrassing for her at this moment. I'm not totally sure. Obviously, I haven't gone through this personally, but that's just my guess. But we're going to go down to the comments below for some education. Eden Gone Dark says, not the arsehole, periods aren't gross. Getting your period blood all over the place is. She needs to learn basic period hygiene now, or she will deeply regret it later in life. You're a great father, OP, but maybe consider having her see a therapist or someone more qualified to deal with why she is reacting this way. Skitten says, no one's an arsehole here. You just have a child who needs more education. She's bleeding through so much onto the couch and bed, and she either doesn't have menstrual products that work for her, or she isn't changing them often enough. Hope you also taught her about the risk of toxic shock syndrome, but it sounds like she needs more help learning to deal with this. I suggest you talk to the women in your life, let them know she's constantly bleeding through her menstrual products, and ask them if they can help her learn how to better prevent that. Background Yam 1728 says, not the arsehole, it's unhygienic to leave blood-stained items around. They do stink terribly if they're not disposed of. Unfortunately, accidents do happen and sometimes you bleed through the tampon or on the sheets during the middle of the night. I don't know what the bleeding on the couch multiple times is about, that's a bit much, but she doesn't have any right to blow up at you. You seem like you went about it very respectfully. The women in her life should be teaching her how to hygienically deal with her period. Oh. Now, what do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 2. And our next story is an interesting one because after the post, the boyfriend replies too. Our next story is from Antisocial Addy. Am I the arsehole for forcing my boyfriend into becoming a furry? So title basically explains the rough premise, but to go into more detail, I enjoy fursuits and furry art. I'm not into the NSFW side of it, purely the fun nature of dressing up in a costume and escaping from your regular life. To add, I've never owned a fursuit and don't plan on owning one for a lot of time, if ever. So this is just something I enjoy looking at and interacting with the community, along with making my own furry art, which he said he dislikes. My boyfriend on the other hand despises furries for no other reason than they're degenerates. I asked him to elaborate on what constitutes a degenerate, and he can't really come up with any solid argument other than it isn't normal, so it shouldn't be accepted. My boyfriend is a major AFL, Australian football fan, and is borderline obsessed over it. I've tried to make an effort into connecting with him on his passion, even going as far as joining football clubs to play the sport, which I had to leave because of COVID. Whenever he watches football, I ask him what the score is and indulge him in conversation about it, even though I couldn't really care less. The thing is though, when I try to talk to him about fursuits and furry art, I get instantly shut down, to the point where he's told me that it will allow me to send a single post about it per day, but any more than that and he'll mute our Instagram chat we have together. He thinks I'm trying to convert him into becoming a furry, when in reality I just want him to make an effort to be interested in the things I'm interested in the same way I do with his interests. A similar situation happened in which there was a period of time where we'd only get to watch what he wanted to watch, be it movies or TV shows, in the limited time we had together. Any attempt on my part to suggest movies were widely shut down, and I ended up giving in to whatever he wanted to watch. I feel like he's being selfish about this whole thing, and that he's allowed to talk about what he wants to, but I'm limited. So Reddit, am I the asshole? Now as I said, we got a post below from the actual boyfriend who replies to this. So it gets a bit spicy. But for now it's like you can't force someone to be into your hobbies. Like, yeah, sure, you want to show an interest in his hobbies, but you know, you don't have to like that. That's your choice, and he doesn't have to like the furries, to be quite honest. But yeah, let's go straight to the comments and see what the boyfriend says. So the boyfriend starts off with, "You're the arsehole for making me sound like the worst boyfriend ever." And then puts another post saying, "Hey guys, I'm the OP's boyfriend, so I thought I'd comment here as well. For some background, this is an issue we've been having for quite some time. In my opinion, the part of the post about the AFL is misleading. I don't really discuss games with my girlfriend other than I'm watching a game, I hope my team wins, etc. I've never really tried to force her to be interested in football or talk about it with me, especially more recently. As for the furryism, I've made it clear I don't like it, it makes me uncomfortable and I don't want to partake in it. I've never tried to make her stop being a furry. Onto the part about TV shows. I've put my hand up and said that I've been in the wrong about being controlling over what we watch, and I've made conscious efforts to be better. At the current time, there haven't been any arguments about TV shows, so I think she just added this to skew votes in her favour. I agreed to watch Beastars with her, a furry anime. It made my skin crawl, but I knew I needed to make a difference and be better, so I did it. I feel like my efforts have been underappreciated. I don't know how many people will see this comment, but I hope that those who do also consider what I've said here before voting. Cheers." And OP replies to her boyfriend on Reddit, God knows why they ain't talking about this in person, and says, "You've tried to talk to me about football or brought it up at least 3 or 4 times today, so it's still very relevant. I added the TV/movie element because it was a similar situation where you've only wanted to talk/do what you're interested in with me while ignoring what I'm interested in. I was simply drawing correlations to previous issues because this wasn't a first time thing. You've watched about 5 episodes of Beastars and then bashed it in conversation with me, or why forcing me to watch TLOK when I stated I don't like it. I'm just sick of the double standards about how we both compromise and talk about whatever we want to talk about or watch without limits per day, or some bullshit like that. You even made fun of me today because I unfollowed a meme page that had been posting things that would make me uncomfortable with my own body." Ray Romanta says, and replies to the string of posts saying, "While this is fun for me to watch unfold, when you guys start arguing with your partner over the internet, it's time to rethink the whole relationship." And then the boyfriend replies to it again, "This is ridiculous. Does TLOK make you feel sick to look at it? You're absolutely desperate for me to embrace and celebrate this furry thing you've got going on right now. I even asked you to stop sending me furry shit. 5 seconds later, a fursuit image is sent to me. Kay says, you gotta take this shit to the DMs, or like an actual one-on-one convo, and stop arguing on a Reddit thread." And because this is just a one big bloody mess, I'm gonna say everyone sucks here. What do you guys think of this story? Oh, I don't know what to. Yeah, whatever. It's an absolute mess. Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on the poll in the description for story 3. And our next story is from Say Something. Am I the arse for giving up and telling off stepchild? I married my husband 2 years ago. He has a child, 21 non-binary, called Leo, and I have 2 children, 8 and 9, from a previous marriage. We all for the most part get along, but living with Leo is like living with a ghost. They barely talk, stay mostly in their room, and there is zero physical affection. They pay rent and buy their own food. They're moving out after the pandemic. Sometimes I see them in the kitchen, ask if they're hungry, and they'll just look at me and they'll shake their head, or if they're making themselves something, I ask for some of their food and they just say, "No thank you." They're never at family meals, and my children say they want to hang out with them because they have lots of consoles in their bedroom and toys they bought, but Leo just goes to their room and locks the door. I know they have autism and that they work online and that they're happy with their way of life. Even my husband says that the therapists are proud of they're doing much better than years ago. Incident in question is I asked them today if they want to go to my mother's today for a family reunion, and they can be on their Switch the whole time or ignore everyone, just please go. And all Leo said was, "No thank you, I'm packing today." I'll admit I was defeated and finally snapped. You know, living with you is like living with a ghost. And when you move out, no one will notice because you never talk to or try to be affectionate. I'm your new mother and I have not once been hugged by you or eaten a meal with you. I give up. Is that what you wanted? Because that's what you're getting. After that, Leo just looked at me and I saw a tear fall, and all they said was, "This is just who I am." And not, I haven't seen or heard from them in hours, and the rest of the family is telling me I was a monster. Am I the arsehole? Added, I've since apologised to Leo as they were in the kitchen this morning. When I asked if I could be forgiven, or if I was forgiven, they took my favourite coffee creamer from the fridge, poured it down the drain in front of me, and left the kitchen. I don't know what that means. Added, about the whole single tear, I don't know if Leo is capable of full crying. I've been in their life for 4 years now, and I've only seen 2 occasions of tears, and it's from one eye, and they look neutral the whole time. Do alligator tears work that way? Now, from many stories before this one, there's a lot of stories about autism and stuff like that and the way people deal with it, and this is just going to be another case of a person that doesn't know how to respond to someone with autism, the way they worded this whole post. And when you said that you're their new mother and you've not once been hugged by them, I mean, come on, man, come on, you can't be that stupid. That person's 21 years old, you're not their mother, you're your husband's new wife kind of thing, so that's up to them to make that choice. But we're going to go straight down to the comments below because I'm sure they're going to explain it much better than I can. Regular Tell says, "You're the arsehole. Please go and get some good, reliable information about autism before you make this much worse. I can tell that you're well intentioned, frustrated, and mystified, but what you just did is the opposite of helping." Amethyst Fire says, "Yep, you're the arsehole. Leah is 21 and fully grown. You're not their mother. You are dad's new wife. Also educate yourself about the autism spectrum and where exactly Leo falls on it. Kids and adults on the spectrum see and process the world differently. How much effort have you made to relate to Leo on their terms versus demanding Leo to relate to you on your terms?" Port Wine Just Fine says, "You're the arsehole. You are not this grown person's mother. This grown person is autistic and likely cannot handle physical stimuli that you might consider affection. They're an adult and they do not owe you affection. I can't believe you would say something so selfish to this poor person. Rethink your choices. Become better, for the love of God." Pangolin says, and quotes, "I'm your new mother," and then says, "You're the arsehole," and then quotes again, "This is just who I am. It was bad enough when you tried to make out Leo owed your children time because they have cool stuff in their room. But then you reveal you know they're autistic and their therapist has said this is a massive improvement from before, and you degraded that to, no one will notice you go. You're the arsehole and you need to go and read some books on autism." So now I turn it to you guys. What do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 4. Once again guys, thank you for being here today. It is truly appreciated. The time out your day is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for sitting down and listening to these stories. It really means the world to me. And with that being said, I will see you in the next one. Take care guys. Much love.